Well, welcome back to another episode of On Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we're joined by a very special guest, current professional hockey goaltender with Biloxi Breakers, most recently in the Federal Prospects Hockey League, Rob Holden. Rob spent this year with the Wooster Bulls in the American Premier Hockey League before joining the Biloxi Breakers for the last 5 games of the season. But before that, he spent time in the APHL with the Kalkaska Battlers, and then he spent his junior hockey days in the USPHL Premier with the Fort Wayne Spacemen and the Worcester Oilers before making his semi-pro debut in Kalkaska. So I'm excited to get you on, Rob. Rob is my goalie partner this year in Worcester, so we had a few good times this year. But welcome to the show, Rob Holden.
Yeah, thanks. Super happy to be here. I've seen some of your I've seen some of your other work, some of your other interviews. My brother actually came on, earlier in the year or maybe last year. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's a cool podcast you have.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and they just sharing stories, sharing experiences, and that's what it's all about. But like you've had quite the year going with spend the most majority of the year besides the last 2 weeks with the Wooster Bulls and the AP before
Yeah.
going to Biloxi for the last 5 games. Like what has this year been like for you? And just it's you've had a pretty much a career year with getting your chance in the Fed as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean it's been a good year. Like, I did a little like back to like last off season. I kind of switched up my you know, training. I was doing just like different stuff than I had been, skating a little bit less, kind of focusing more on, my body and just getting healthy as far as like hips goes, knees go, stuff like that. I kind of made that decision at the end of last year that I was going to focus more on the physical side of stuff and kind of, ramp up to skating later in the summer. And I think that's a big that helped me a lot. Um, just with being able to like play and kind of conditioning wise and everything like that. So that kind of set the stage for it. And then yeah, like when I got in games, I was just like I felt more ready to go. I felt like more confident. My body wasn't an issue. Like I felt good this year. And then yeah, just kind of everything just fell into place. Where when I got the opportunity to go to Biloxi, like I felt ready, I felt confident, I felt good. So yeah, that's kind of I guess the backstory and kind of like how everything kind of fell into place. But yeah, I mean it was a good year, it was a fun year, a lot of new experiences, and I'm really excited for the future. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just like the summer's like a lot of like trial and error too. And like you said, like you focus more on getting your body stronger and like
Yeah.
everything more mobile as well to help yourself feel better on the ice. Like what like obviously you focus more on hips, but like what were you doing like in the gym to really like help increase like the flexibility, the mobility, and like
Yeah.
the strength of everything?
Yeah, I mean, so honestly, my training is really, really simple. It's like it's squats and deadlifts is basically my lower body stuff. Like I don't really do anything crazy with like, you'll see some guys with, they'll be doing crazy stuff with like, the balance boards and like the Bosu balls and stuff like that. Like I don't really I don't I mean, there's a time and a place for that, but I think, what's really been beneficial for me is just more the straight up like strength stuff, like getting your body stronger, kind of like outside hockey. Like, um, I think if you're like, just a strong person, like a person who's in good physical shape, I think, the hockey and the more skill side of it will fall into place. So that was kind of my focus. Like it really wasn't anything crazy. Just, your standard, squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, Bulgarian split squats, just, stuff like that. Romanian deadlifts, just, your really standard, really simple movements, in the gym that really just kind of make you stronger as a person rather than anything super hockey specific. And then obviously, like as far as cardio goes, the bike, running, um, the row machine is probably my favorite cardio. But yeah, nothing crazy. Just going to the gym, working hard, and trying to you know every week do something more than last week, whether that's do an extra rep, an extra set, go up in weight, run a little bit further. But yeah, that's kind of what's helped me find, I think, more success this year than in the past, is just feeling better, being stronger, just being in overall better shape, and that's translated to on the ice really well.
Yeah, legs feed the wolf, and how or however that saying goes, and like yeah, like get stronger, and
Hmm.
even if you're not doing it like hockey is specific and just doing it overall to get your life like your lifestyle feeling a lot better, like it's gonna translate to hockey and to the ice when you do go into on ice training and you're able
Yeah,
to like use everything you've learned from the first half of the offseason, going back on the ice, and just you're able to transfer that better, and I'm sure you feel a whole lot better as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because like it's not like I wouldn't recommend only going to the gym and like not skating at all. Like I don't think that's the way to go, because at the end of the day, like, you are a hockey player. Your your focus, or I guess my focus, because I'm only speaking for myself, but my focus is hockey. Um, so like I was still skating and still doing some skill stuff, but yeah, I think I much prefer, because like I mean in the past, like there've been off seasons where I was like skating 4 times a week the entire summer, and lifting a lot less, and like I think that's just too much. Like I think you just get burned out. Your joints don't really get time to recover from the season when you're skating, every day, sometimes twice a day. Like you need some strictly gym time to get your body back. Because you lose strength, you lose muscle throughout the season. You're skating so much, you're doing so much, like you're on the road. Sometimes you can't, like, you're not eating enough to like you lose weight during the season.
Yeah.
It's a thing that happens. And I think those first couple months of the off season, or first half of the off season, whatever it might be, I think that's a really important time to really like go hard in the gym versus the on ice stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, like you said, the more you like you get into skating, the more fatigue you're gonna put on, the worse you're gonna recover, especially if you're skating and lifting as well. Like, so you just gotta find that balance. Like that's what I used to be like you, where I'd be like on the ice 4 or 5 days a week every day, basically
Yeah.
throughout the summer, and then come season time and you're already gassed, you're already burnt out. But if you like slowly like ramp it up from like 1 to 2 skates a week, like for the first 2.5 months, and then ramp it up from there, and by September, like I'll be on the ice 4 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
for sure.
like
Yeah. I mean,
before then, like I'm not touching the ice as much as I'm lifting.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, like, I think every hockey player, and probably more specifically goalies, like, throughout the year, like everyone has little things. Like, I don't, maybe some, you tweak your groin, or like your knee feels a little bit funky, like just little stuff like that. I think, taking some time off the ice at the beginning of the off season kind of, lets you recover from that, and then, puts you into a better position when the season starts.
Yeah, exactly. But then you go throughout the summer and you sign in Worcester, and you get a bunch get quite a few games as well. Like we split the time pretty evenly. So like
Yeah.
what was the experience like? Just get back into the flow of things, get games, and really get that game experience under your belt again.
Yeah, so I mean, it's my cat. Say hi, Rudy. Um,
I love it.
uh, so yeah, I mean, just going, like, getting back into like the kind of swing of things game wise. Um, there wasn't really a huge adjustment period. Like I didn't feel, some seasons in the past, you're practicing a ton, like, you're skating a whole bunch. So like then when you actually like get into games, it kind of like you have to get used to like playing in games again. I didn't really feel that, like from pretty much our first preseason game, like I felt good, I felt confident, I felt like I was right back into it. Like there really wasn't like an adjustment period from like, practice and like more skills based stuff right into games. I don't really know if that has anything to do with, what I did last off season. It might, but yeah, I mean, like there wasn't really an adjustment period. And then kind of like as the season went on, it was just, repetition. Like, you know, everything just kind of fell into place and was natural and just felt good.
Yeah, and like that's like how I felt too. Like compared to like past seasons, like I felt ready right from the start. Like right from that Toledo game, the first game, like felt
Hmm.
probably the best I've felt in my career for a first game of the season. And then
Yeah,
you just build on it from there, and like having a good goalie partner like you and Belzy too. Like
sure.
we all feed off each other, and like between like media timeouts, just like crack a joke, crack a smile,
Oh
and
yeah,
get
yeah.
get back to it. And like that's what breeds success too, is like having like good goalie partners like that where you can just relax and we're all cheering for each other at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a big part of it. Like if you have, I've never had like a goalie partner who I would say was like, someone I didn't like, but I've definitely had a couple that are, more quiet or like you don't really talk a whole lot, and then it's just kind of, in media timeouts, it's not awkward, but it's definitely better when you come to the bench and like, you know, your buddy's there and like yeah, like you said, crack a joke or it's just it feels better when like it's actually like your friend versus just someone you're sharing a locker room with. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely think we had a good crew, a good you know couple goalies there. It was obviously me, you, and Beller, and we all got along. That it was a good setup, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But like went throughout the year, and like you said, you went to Biloxi and you got into your first FPHL game
Yeah.
against the Blue Ridge Bobcats, that not or not this past weekend, but the weekend before, when you first got there. Like what was it like to get your first like official like FPHL game, and just see the game from how like you were playing the APHL to see a whole another level of hockey in the Fed.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I mean, as far as like, how I felt about it, I really wasn't super like nervous. Like, I know, your first game at like a new level or whatever, a lot of players get like really nervous. I didn't really experience that. Obviously, there are some nerves, there are some butterflies in your stomach before, the puck drop or whatever. But the guys were really great. Like when I got there, my roommates were awesome. Uh, they were, really supportive, really, excited. They're like, just said nice things, when I got there. And then like first practice, I met, the rest of the team. Um, everyone was kind of, just the same way. Like, they're excited for me. They told me they were, they were happy, that I was getting the opportunity, like that it was going to be good for my career. Like, um, and then, I met the other goalies, Sharma
Yeah.
and Garrett Johnson,
Beauties.
and just more, yeah, absolutely, yeah, great guys. More of the same. Just super excited for me, super happy, that I was getting the opportunity, and that, like I said, like just having good guys on the bench, that's a big part of it because like media Sharma backed up that game that I had my first start. Come to the bench for like a timeout or whatever, and he's just there, the big smile on his face. Keep going, like good job, you look good, like you look calm, you look big, like just hearing stuff like that really kind of helped keep the nerves away and just kind of let me enjoy the moment and just take it all in. And it was a lot of fun. It was a really 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 awesome time.
Yeah, that guy probably has the biggest smile in the Fed, and like you
Yeah,
can't wipe that smile off him. So he's a beauty. He's a good buddy. Same with Johnny too. Like that guy's a
yeah,
character, and like all in good characters like that.
oh yeah,
Like just makes it fun, and fun to be around the rink, fun to be around them. Like just like you said, like having partners like that helps everything a whole lot more when, especially if things do go end up going sideways and not what you expected.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I was lucky enough that, I think I played pretty well. Like I was pretty
yeah,
happy with, how the game went. But yeah, I mean, I have no doubt that, if things didn't go well, they would have been just as supportive and, kind of picked me up and would have been, pretty much exactly how they were. Like it was, they're all really good guys. I, can't say enough about how awesome the team was there and just the environment was.
yeah, exactly. But like you said, like you didn't really have like those nerves, but you had like those butterflies. And
Sure. Yeah.
was it just like your first couple of shots just to get used to the puck, and then you're like, oh, it's just another game. I've done this thousands of other times.
So not really first shots. Like kind of like when the puck drops, it's almost like just autopilot takes over. That's kind of how I felt anyhow. Like you know, maybe like the butterflies were like during like the national anthem. Kind of like right before everything's about to happen and all the eyes are on you and you're kind of just looking around and see the people in the stands and just taking everything in. But kind of like right when the puck drops, it's kind of just like, you know, like I said, autopilot, and you're just doing what you've done for, gosh, long time now. I started when I was 8 years old. I'm 23 now, so whatever that math is. Um, but yeah, just kind of just go with the flow and let your body take over.
Yeah, what was it? What was the atmosphere like? Like Mississippi Coast Coliseum, like that's
Yeah.
an ECHL rink from back in the when the Seawolves were in the coast, and just like that fan base is really supportive of their team, and like they get a lot of buzz there.
Yeah, so so that the my start was that was their last home game. So it was, I think it was fan appreciation night. So there was a pretty good crowd. They were definitely loud. They were, really supportive, during the actual game. And then after the game, we had a jersey auction. There was a jersey auction, so the fans were bidding on our jerseys. Buying jerseys, kind of supporting the team, and taking pictures with us, and signing autographs, stuff like that. And the fans were super excited. They were cheering for the players when their jerseys got listed. And then when the the fans actually like bought the jerseys. Like I said, we'd take pictures with them, give them hugs, shake their hand, tell them thank you. Like they were all just super into it. They, kind of were treating us like rock stars there. So it's just a really good environment. The fans love it down there.
Yeah, for sure. And like, cause like I was down there, I e-bogged in Mississippi in like late February, and then that next night, like we were playing Baton Rouge both nights, and I e-bogged in Mississippi for Mississippi Friday night, and then Saturday night I e-bogged in for Baton Rouge on the other side.
Yeah,
And like after the game, like the fans, like I'm pretty sure I signed both Baton Rouge jerseys and Mississippi jerseys that day, and so
yeah, yeah.
that was pretty cool. Like my name's at both on both jerseys, and like the fans, like you tell that they no matter like if it was Baton Rouge or Mississippi, like the fans support the hockey and support you as a player on their team, no matter if you're there for one game, two games, or five games, or whatever it may be, or for the
Oh
whole
yeah,
season.
oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean hockey's popular down south. Like they really like the rough and physical game down there. And that's not just like a pro thing. Like I've heard guys who just buddies around here in Cleveland, who play junior and like or who have played junior down south. And it's I've heard the exact same things. Like the fans love it. They're super into it. Like they love the games. They love the environment. They love how physical it can get. Like hockey's definitely kind of growing in the South, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it for sure is, and there's teams expanding. They're like the Mid South team, the new expansion teams going to
Mhm.
Mississippi. I think upstate Mississippi, so that'll be fun to see how that turns out. And just like you said, like they love their hockey down there, and it's a whole
Yeah,
different atmosphere when you go to the South to play hockey.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, but
Yeah, they love it
last
down there.
yeah, exactly. But last year you spent time with Kalkaska Battlers in your first stop in the APHL. Like, what was
Yeah.
your first reaction to playing in the APHL, playing Kalkaska, and just really getting that year out of the way in the APHL to
Yeah, yeah.
start your
So
career in pro?
yeah, I mean, Cal Cask is great. That's it's for those of you that don't know, it's or the people watching who probably have never heard of Kalkaska. It's a small town in very northern Michigan. It's I mean, when I say small, I mean it's tiny. Like there is really not a whole lot to do there except the team there. I think they rebranded or something. They're called the Kings now. I think they have a team up there. But like the fans loved, and I mean loved the Battlers. Like because there's really not a whole lot else to do down there. Um, you know, the rink's not huge, but like, 500 people is like packing that place. And like, I mean, we got at least two or 300 every night. And then, like I said, some of the bigger nights, probably more like 600. Um, but like, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. And then as far as like the playing goes, yeah, I got a lot of games, last year. Like I just it was a good experience. It was a good, kind of opportunity, a good place for me to get my feet wet just in the league, in the environment, everything, because I was able to play a lot. And I did pretty well last year too. Um, it was just get a lot of experience, a lot of games played, see a lot of shots, see a lot of action, at that level, just kind of getting my feet wet and, getting used to the league. So then kind of set me up for this year. I felt like I was ready to go and knew exactly what to expect.
Yeah, that's huge. Just to get that game experience because everyone talks about it. You got to get that experience to move on to the next level, and just by getting that experience at a decently high level is huge, and to put up good numbers as well. Like you put up a 915, like it's a great save percentage. Like that's pretty much what you had this year too. So like
Yeah.
back to back years in the 91 is not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no. Yeah. I mean, um, yeah, that's yeah. It was a good environment. It was a good situation. Was definitely able to build some confidence from last year and carry it over into this year. So yeah, I mean, as far as Kalkaska goes, it was a positive experience, and just I'll always I'll always remember Kalkaska. Just that super super small town where the fans are crazy for it.
Yeah, that definitely was a cool atmosphere to play in the Coliseum in Kalkaska.
Yeah,
Can't beat that atmosphere.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but like talk about like your development throughout junior hockey. Like you played for the Worcester Oilers and the Fort Wayne Spacemen for a little bit, and you also
Hmm.
got like a stint with the Johnson Tomahawks and the Knoll as well. So like talk about
Yeah.
like junior hockey and your development throughout juniors.
Yeah, so when I was so my I'll just kind of go through the timeline. I played just high school in Cleveland here, and then when I my senior year of high school, when I was I think 17, I got called up to the Tomahawks. I think it was like more of like an e-bug situation for a weekend. Um, but that was great just to kind of again just getting my feet wet with some junior experience. So I got that call up, spent like a week there, um, right at the end of the year, right before COVID, and then kind of I think a couple days after the last game that I was backing up for, the COVID situation happened, and that was that. But even just having that like e-bug experience for like a week, that was really really good for next year because I had that on my on my elite prospects on my resume. Um, so then I was able to sign with the Oilers in the USP, and for like that year in the USP was crazy because that was the COVID year, and there were a bunch of leagues like tier one and tier two leagues, like Canadian leagues, and like even some like European leagues that like didn't play. So
Yeah.
like the USP had a ton of like crazy, crazy, crazy. Like looking at players from the USP. Like I'm pretty sure there was a guy who like in the USPHL Premier who had like ECHL games under his belt. And
Wow.
like because so, I don't know, like the
Like the
coast wasn't
lockout
playing or
year.
something like that. Like I don't remember who it was, but like there were, I mean, I think like the captain of the Medicine Hat Tigers in the WHL, he was playing on like on a USP team. Like there was, I think, guys on like NHL Central Scouting playing in the USP like in 2020. Like that was a crazy year for the USP. And the league since then has definitely grown, and I'm sure made some changes, but my experience in USP was, it was really, really good hockey, like both years that I played there. The first year, I played the whole season with Wooster, and then I started the second year with Worcester, and just it wasn't the right situation, so I ended up requesting a trade, and I went to Fort Wayne, which was fantastic. Fort Wayne, it's not too far from Cleveland. It's only about 3.5 hours. So not being too far away, moving away. I left around Thanksgiving, so spent a while there. It was great. My billet family was awesome, and then as far as like the actual hockey goes in Fort Wayne, it was like, I don't know how it is now, but back then, we were treated really, really, really well. Like, I mean, it was like the locker room was fantastic. We got a ton of stuff. The fans were awesome. They took good care of us in Fort Wayne. So, nothing but positive things to say about the Spaceman organization. Um, and honestly, the Worcester organization too, they don't exist anymore. That junior team doesn't exist. But while we were there, I had a lot of fun. Again, we were taken care of pretty well there too. Um, yeah, I mean, it was like my junior experience. It was definitely positive. Like I look back on my junior days and say, man, that was a lot of fun. Like that was it was a like I'm happy I went and played. Because I know, there's a lot of people that like to say, "Oh man, tier three, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time." Like, I, I couldn't disagree more, to be honest with you. Um, Especially that COVID year. Like, I mean, tier three hockey was like there were some really, really good players, and like even if you look at like minor pro rosters now, like the USP has advanced a ton of players who are in the Fed and the SP now. Like I mean, like there are a ton of minor pro guys that were in the USPHL Premier in 21, or excuse me, 2020, 2021, and 2022. Like those 3 years for the USPHL has been really, really, really good for minor pro hockey in the United States. Like there's a lot of players who went from the USP to either D3 teams or college teams, and then some even just straight out of junior went to start playing minor pro. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't ever say that tier three is a waste of time or a waste of money. Like it was a really good experience.
Yeah. So like what do you learn from like those experiences where the USP is so much better during those times? Like so like you have like you said like the WH the Medicine Hat captain like and like guys with like a lot of good experience now,
Yeah.
and just see those guys firsthand in the USP, and you're really able to grow throughout those times too.
Yeah, I mean, it just like set the bar higher, like I think anytime you're exposed to better players, like you're gonna kind of take a step up to meet them where
Yeah.
they are, or as big of a step as you can. Um, that's just kind of that was my experience with it. Like, playing against, better players, like you're looking at the roster, you're kind of doing your homework on another team, and you're like, oh man, this guy has this experience, or this guy's coming out of this league. Like, you just kind of you watch them, you can pick up on what they do, and maybe learn something from it. Um, and then yeah, just like kind of when that standard's a little bit higher, going into the off season or going into the next season, like you're in a better place. So that was my experience with it.
Yeah, that's huge, and like it just like helps you overall know what to expect going forward, especially if you want to play at that next level, whether it be up and up up a level from tier three to tier two, whether it be
Yeah.
going to the APHL to semi-pro or jumping into the minor pro ranks in the Fed or the SB, like it just sets that bar higher where you're able to expect more and you expect more out of yourself because you can handle the pressure and can handle all the higher caliber players that played there.
Yeah, man. I couldn't agree more there. Like those couple years in the USPHL, that was crazy. And I've talked to a bunch of guys who have had who played during those years, and they all say the same thing. Like the USP, like that was an experience for sure, man. Like just running into guys like who I played against at showcases or played in the same league or division or yeah, I mean that was certainly an interesting time to be playing tier three those COVID years.
Yeah, for sure. But like you talked about earlier about your e-bug experience in the null, like
Yeah.
what do you learn from having those experiences as an e-bug? And like you said, like you can take experience from anything, like even from that weekend that you e-bugged in Johnstown, like you're still learning stuff. Like what was that experience like to just learn about the North American game and that you could hang there if obviously given the time was a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of my first experience with like really really good goalies. Um, I th so our the guy who played those games was Alex Tracy, and I think he's in the AHL right now. And a goalie, there was one goalie on the other team on Maryland, Cooper Black, who's also in the AHL
Yeah.
right now.
Hmm.
Um, so like so like obviously there's four goalies. There's four goalies on the ice for games or whatever. Two starters, two backups. Like two of those four goalies are in the American League right now, and I'm pretty sure Cooper Black has an NHL deal. So
Yeah.
like being able to being able to like just be around that and like even if it was only for a weekend, but like watch them in warm-ups, watch them during the games, watch them during watching Alex during practice, like that kind of exposed me to like, okay, like this is like if you want to be here and like you want to play professional one day or whatever, like this is the level that you need to get to. And that was just really good. It was like an eye opener because I was 17, like I was a young kid. Like it kind of it was good exposure for me. It was a good way to kind of gauge myself.
Yeah, so it was an eye-opening experience for you. Like what made it so eye-opening for you to just get into that e-bug role and really learn about the null game and how they play and how serious these guys take it to get to the pro level.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, the goalies, understanding like what like a high level goalie really looks like, but then on the other side of it too, how players act and like how not only like speed wise, but just how much more skilled the players are.
Yeah.
Um, whether it be more consistent, like if there's a shot from the blue line, it's like guys aren't just waving their sticks at it, like there's almost always like a deflection or someone's getting something on it, um, or like how much better the defensemen are at like keeping the puck in the zone versus like U18 or whatever, like stuff like that. How much harder guys pass, how much crisper everything is, like just little things like that, just kind of understanding like what the game looks like at a higher level versus where I had been, and kind of realizing that if I wanted to play pro, if I wanted to keep playing, like I was going to need to meet that level. Um, and that was the biggest takeaway from my experience with Johnstown.
Yeah, it's just like a maturity thing where if you want to continue to you just gotta see how these guys because the USHL, the NAL, like they all treat like the Canadian like top tier like OHL,
Hmm.
CHL,
Yeah,
like QMJHL, like they're all like they're junior hockey, but like it's treated like a professional league and
yeah,
if you get that experience where you see these guys and how they compete, how they battle every day, how they take care of your body, like and you want to continue on, like you just gotta follow suit and get with the program with what they're doing and really grind and take it seriously because like once you do like that's when you get your chance to go pro.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Because then, like, I took that experience into like the next off season, and had a really good off season, and then started my junior career in Worcester, and kind of everything since then has kind of fallen into place. So yeah, I mean that really kicked it off. The experience in Johnstown kind of kicked off my kind of my goals, and like my really just grinding to make it higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, exactly. But like obviously goaltending is a tough position and it can be stressful at times and like you go through like those ups and downs throughout a season. Like what's some takeaways that you've learned over the course of your career so far to manage that stress, manage those ups and downs and just stay level-headed throughout a season?
Um, One of the biggest things for that, like the biggest thing for staying level-headed, is to have like things in your life that are important to you outside of hockey. I think, because like we take it seriously, and we hockey's been all a lot of the guys, playing still. Like it's been all we've known since we've been like 8 years old. Like I started hockey when I was 8 years old. Like it's part of my life. It's
Yeah.
it's more than it's not like just something I do for fun. It's not, just, something for exercise. Like it's a big part of my life. It's something I care about. And obviously, anyone playing any level of professional hockey, like, feels the same way about that. Um, but that said, I think it's important to also have things in your life that ground you to stuff that's not hockey, whether that be, I don't know, like some guys have families, some guys have girlfriends, wives, some guys have, jobs. Some guys, go to college, and they have other things. Um, because like you can't just be hockey, 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 hockey. Like you can't, because then if you have a bad game, or you're in a little bit of a slump, like you have a series of bad games, then it turns into like, well, this is my life. Like, like I'm a failure or whatever. And like I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
But having things outside of hockey that are important to you, I think can ground you. Like I know a lot of my buddies personally are into like fishing and hunting. Like, if they have a bad game or whatever, it's like, bad practice, whatever happens, like, they can still go fishing, they can still have fun and kind of get their mind away from it. Like I think being able to get your mind away from the game, is important, during the downs in the season. And then, when you have the ups, it's just, everything's fun, everything's enjoyable, and you're not, super worried about it. But I think having things outside of hockey helps you manage the downs more, and just skating more, because like if you're skating, I don't know, once a week, and you have a bad game, like you're kind of bummed out about that for like the whole week. But like if you're
Yeah.
skating once or twice a day, it's like, dude, you have a bad practice, like it's not really like you're skating again, like in you know less than 24 hours. Like it's not a big deal. So I think the combination of skating more and having things outside of hockey, I think that's really the two biggest things for dealing with the ups and downs in a season.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And like that's like something like I learned throughout my first year in Watertown too, is like you're gonna have it's a long season, you're gonna have bad practices, you're gonna have bad games, like
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. And like you said, like finding those ways, find those things outside of hockey is really going to help you. Like like my whole apartment would just sit up and just watch movies and just chill after practice, or like we'll go to the mall or walk around the mall, get like
Hmm.
get like food after, like do like graphic design stuff, do the podcast, like just
Yeah.
stuff to get your mind off the game and off a bad practice. And it really does like help your head. And now obviously I have a puppy too. So like
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
she definitely will be active when I'm not at practice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. For sure. Yeah. I think it's important to obviously, like I said, hockey's kind of all a lot of us have known for a while,
Yeah.
but it's important to have things important to you outside of the game.
Yeah, exactly. But like do you have any like I want to go into like superstitions or like what your routines, like what are like some of like the different like superstitions, if you have any, throughout like if you have to do it like before practice, like before a game, like or even during.
Yeah, I don't really have any like superstitions. Um, I do like, I mean, I have, a pregame routine, pre-practice
Yeah.
routine, just to get the body, get the mind going,
Get the
get
body
everything
feeling
feeling.
good.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not, I wouldn't say I have any like superstitions. Like I don't, because I think that's a double-edged sword. Like there are some guys that are like, if I don't have this, this, and this, I'm screwed. Like
Yeah.
I can't perform. And like you can't have that, especially like if you're on the road, if you're on the bus all the time, like if your thing you have to do before the game to play well is like have Chipotle and get it exactly the same way every single time. Like what if there's not a Chipotle around?
Yeah.
Like you're in trouble. So yeah, I don't have any superstitions. It's more just like, on like a game day, like I like to eat a lot of food. I like to drink a lot of water, a lot of electrolytes. Just my calorie intake, my carbs, just make sure I'm eating a lot of food. But other than that, yeah, really, I don't have any, superstitions.
Yeah. Like that's what I've learned is like I used to be superstitious, but like you don't know, like sometimes you're on the road and usually you get there 2 hours before a game, but sometimes the bus breaks down, sometimes there's
Yeah,
traffic,
yeah,
and like you get there 15 minutes before warm up. It's like you can't go through your full 30-minute warm up routine. Like you gotta do at least maybe like something to like get the body moving quickly and then put your gear on because you have 12 minutes once you get into the locker room before you're on the ice. So you can't really go off a superstition because you never know, especially minor pro. A lot of stuff happens before games and a
yeah,
lot of moving
yeah,
around, and you just really can't get into like a superstitious style.
yeah. I mean, you got to control what you can control,
Yeah,
um, and try your best not to worry about the things that at the end of the day you can't control. Like if the bus breaks down, it's like what are you gonna do? Like it happens sometimes. Like there's really like you gotta you have to make do with what you have, especially at the minor pro level where you don't have some of the comforts that guys playing in the NHL, AHL have. um we're not, like we don't have the same resources, the teams don't have the same resources. Like you have to make do with what you have. And that's a big part of like the maturity aspect of the game, I think. Not not getting too caught up in, well, oh man, like I don't have this, I don't have this, like I need this. Like no, you need to learn to make do with what you have and perform the best that you can with whatever you got.
yeah. You gotta be adaptable, and you just gotta go with the flow because you never know what could get thrown your way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but to wrap this episode up, like what are some like tips that you'd give younger goalies looking to get to the next level? I know we talked a lot about just like strength stuff and just that you need hobbies
Yeah,
outside the game, but like in game, like focus, practice focus, like what do you advise some of these younger goalies to do to get better and make that
yeah.
next step?
So my biggest piece of advice, it's honestly, it's not really about like on ice stuff, to be honest with you. It's more about like, who you listen. Like if you want to play, like I can't tell you how many times that I've heard people, say stuff like, "Oh, you're still playing. Like, why are you still playing? Like, you're not in the NHL. Like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time." It's like
Yeah,
my biggest piece of advice would be just, do what you want to do and like do it for you. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, like you start, like I started hockey when I was 8 years old, right? Like I'm still the same person, I'm a lot older, a lot bigger.
yeah,
Like at the end of the day, like I'm still that, same 8 year old kid who, wanted to try goalie for the first time. Like, don't worry about, like, if you want to play pro hockey and that's what you want to do, who the hell cares if it's the Fed?
yeah,
Like if some I can't, like people, oh, like you're, it's not, well, you're not in the NHL, like you're not making this, you're not doing that. It's like, dude, who cares? Like
yeah,
when I was 8 years old, like if I went back to my 8 year old self and asked, do you want to play pro hockey? The answer would be yes. Like there wouldn't be any question about money, there wouldn't be any question about, what level it's going to be. Like the answer would just be yes. Like I wouldn't care how much I was going to make. I wouldn't care where the team was. I wouldn't care what league it was. Like at the end of the day, it's like you're still getting to play in front of a couple thousand people, sometimes more, on a night-to-night basis, and you get to see the world and parts of the world, and you get to go to cool places and meet fans and other people who are in the same boat as you. Like it's just like do do it for you. Like don't worry about what everyone else has to say about your career and your life, because at the end of the day, it's like you're the one who's making the decisions. You're the one who's calling the shots. Like it's going to matter to you, and like you don't want to have regrets when it comes to it. Like you know when you're 45, when you're 50, like you don't want to be thinking back on like your 20-year-old self, your 25-year-old self. Man, I wish I would have gone. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have, pushed a little harder, because no one's, I mean, when I'm 50 years old telling my kids, like, yeah, I used to play pro hockey, like, I don't think they're going to ask what league it was in.
No.
I don't think they're going to care. They're just going to, be excited and think that that's cool. So yeah, that would be my biggest piece of advice. Just, do it for you.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. And like you said, like if you really want to play pro, like go out and do it. Like put
Yeah.
everything you have into it. Like it doesn't matter what other people say. Like everyone's gonna have their own opinion, like you said. I don't know how many times I've heard that. I don't know how many times
Yeah.
you've heard that as well. Like, why are you still playing? Like you're not you're in the Fed, like stuff like that. Like and it's like you said, like who cares? Like I'm still playing pro hockey. I still
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
still
It's
get
like,
paid a little bit. Like it may not be much, but like it's a paycheck.
yeah, no, like I said, I mean, I don't think, the majority of us at this level aren't playing for the money.
No.
We're playing because, like I said, the 8-year-old kid that started playing hockey wanted to play pro, and, you held on to that dream for, your entire career. Like that's what it is. Like if you ask that 8-year-old if he wanted to play pro hockey, he would always say yes. It wouldn't be about money. It wouldn't be about the league. It's like the answer would just be yes, because it's a
Yeah.
really cool thing to do. Like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. But my final question is, what made you get into being a goalie? Because it's a lot of different stories, a lot of different ways you
Yeah.
can go about it. But like, what's your way to becoming a goalie?
It was probably a combination of a couple things. Just being curious about the gear, the equipment, just kind of, like everyone else is, I think. And then obviously, like, I'm a bigger guy. I was always kind of a bigger kid. Like, the whatever the coaches, and my Mike team or whatever it was, they were probably, you know, when they found out I wanted to try goalie, they're probably like, oh yeah, he's a bigger kid. We'll give him a shot. Um,
Covers a
and
lot of
yeah,
net.
I think that was probably what it was. Just me being curious, and then the combination with being a bigger guy and the coaches, let me give it a shot, and turned out to be, good enough at it to, be the goalie for the full season when I tried it. So yeah, I think it was just probably more the equipment than anything else.
Yeah, I think that's what drew me to the position as well as the mask, the pads,
Oh
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
customization aspect of it, and like it's also pretty good when you make a nice save and could be the game changer in a game.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, and just getting to play all the time too.
Yeah,
Like, you're in the game for 60 minutes. Like that's pretty cool. It's a pretty good thing when you're, 8 years old, and the only goalie on your team. You get to play every minute of every game. Like that was a big part of it too. Like I wanted to play, and that was an easy thing to do.
yeah, I love that, and yeah, best sport in the world and best
Oh yeah.
position for sure, and
Oh yeah.
one of the hardest positions and the best position.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But Rob, thank you again for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and want to wish you the best of luck. And next season, hopefully we're goalie partners again, or we could play against each other and put up a good run.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.